Hello and welcome to yet another Learn Sanskrit lesson, and today we're doing lesson 13. So we're doing three different things today. We're introducing a handful of new masculine nouns, and then we're explaining a little bit about the Devanagari script, a few new letters and letter combinations, and then we are doing the dual forms for the verb asti. So let's start with new nouns here on the first sheet here. So the first one is a proper name, kṛṣṇaḥ. And maybe I should have written that on maybe I'll do like this. 4, 12. Okay, I'll start there instead. Okay, kṛṣṇaḥ. And now we have masculine nouns. And this is a lookup term in a dictionary, but the nominative singular is kṛṣṇaḥ. Okay, so, and that in English would be usually spelled like this, just Krishna with SH there. And we'll use that when we're translating. And that is a proper name of a person. And this can be either an ordinary, normal, live person, or it could be a person, as it is often referred to as the main person in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Krishna and Arjuna, they are in the Gita all the time, from cover to cover. All right, so that's one noun. Then let's take another noun. And this is, and I'm leaving space here for the Devanagari, which there are some details we have to go through first. And as you see here, we have for instance, a D with a dot under, so it's a retroflex. A retroflex D. paṇḍitaḥ, and that is simply in English, a pandit. And a scholar, you can call it, or you can translate it as scholar. But I think here in this course I'll just simply use pandit as a replacement for paṇḍitaḥ, even though so many translations may use scholar instead, or learned man, or like that. But that's what I will be doing here. And then another noun here is khagaḥ, which is a bird. And another one is Brahmaṇaḥ. Brāhmaṇaḥ. And a retroflex N there. Brahmaṇaḥ. So we have a couple of new things there. We have the retroflex. If we look at kṛṣṇaḥ up here, we have the retroflex N, which I don't think we have introduced so far in the course, which we will how that looks in Devanagari. And then we have the retroflex D in paṇḍitaḥ, and then we have the combination here with the H and the M down here in brāhmaṇaḥ. So we are, and then of course the translation for here. I choose to translate this as Brahmin, because I think that is most clear. That because if we were to translate this as Brahman, as Goldman and Goldman does in their Sanskrit textbook, there's always the possibility of confusing that with okay, so what they are doing is they are writing their translation, or writing Brahman like that. So of course, if you translated that as that with an explicit long A there, then there's less to worry about. But of course, if we want an English text, no English words are ever having horizontal strokes over the A. So then we would, in an English text, have to write like this, Brahman, like that. But then we can confuse that Brahman with Brahman, which is the sort of the whole universe or something like that, the bigger force, or the all-encompassing universal spirit, or whatever translation. I mean, there are so many translations of that word. So in order to confuse, or to sort of minimize the confusion, I have consciously selected Brahmin here without any long A here as the best English stand-in for the Sanskrit word Brahmaṇaḥ. All right. And then there's also, of course, the question of what the Brahmaṇaḥ is, and that is not an entirely easy thing to answer either. The sort of the common the common conception, or the modern conception of a Brahmana or a Brahmin is that it's a sort of like a priestly kind of person, or it's a learned, very learned person, perhaps a learned person in the Vedas, or a learned person in Indian philosophy, or something like that. But there's also the possibility that it simply denotes some kind of elite also. So it says the upper class, the upper caste system, sort of. So it's not entirely easy to understand who is a brāhmaṇaḥ. So it may or may not be an actual priest. Maybe it's a person who is very learned without being a teacher, or maybe he's just a. So there's a lot of speculation, or well, who is a brāhmaṇaḥ? Could a farmer be a brāhmaṇaḥ, for instance, or could a soldier be a brāhmaṇaḥ, etc. So this is the well, this is sort of. We should perhaps be a little careful of thinking of a Brahmin here as simply a priest. Maybe he could be something else. So that's you can do your own research in this matter. I think that's pretty interesting to see in historical terms who was a Brahmana and who wasn't. Alright, so let's continue here with the Sanskrit script. So let's flip to sheet number 2 here. Let's see if we can have my pointer. There it is. So so we then can start by introducing the na. The retroflex na, something like that. And that we use a dot under the n there, na, and if we want a simple, if we want to omit the a at the end there and have only the n sound there, and we do simply that shape there, and we skip the vertical stroke. So for instance, if we are having a consonant combination nya, we do the n there, and then you do the ya there, nya. Or we could do the, oh sorry, I should have the dot there, and we can do an n with a va, and similarly we do the rounded thing there, and then we do, we should have our usual va here, wa, something like that. So that's the principle. And then in our new word then, kṛṣṇaḥ, up. Okay, then we have the k, we have the ka, and we modify it to kṛ, and then we have, oops, a little too long there, we should have the shorter. Oops. Alright, it seems that my neighbors are doing some work in the walls, echoing in the whole building here, but hopefully it's already done now, and so I continue here with the retroflex n, na here. So, and then we have the visarga at the end here, which I forgot in the Roman. kṛṣṇaḥ. So that's the, and of course, if you want to hear the real retroflex S and the retroflex N, you should go to some Indian Sanskritist, because they are much more expert at that sound than I am. So, but I'm not brought up with English language, so it's not entirely easy to get the right touch. But that's an exercise for you if you want. kṛṣṇaḥ, like that. So let's go to the retroflex D. So we have, I'm writing arda here, and so we can do something like that, da. And if we want to do a retroflex N prior to the arda, then we do like that, and so we take the N from up here and then we simply stack them together like that. Arnda. Okay. And then but then there comes the question, what if we want to exchange the A sound at the end there to an E, short E? Well, if we just have the single da, then we can just put the E sound here. So we get the D here instead. But now if we want to do the similar thing here with the retroflex N prior to the D, we have to move the E sound one step further to the left. So we have to start with the E sound first, and then we do the N sound, and then we do the D, and then we do the connecting stroke there back to the D. So this is N, D, I. And this is relevant now then, this combination in the word paṇḍitaḥ. Like that. So we start with pa, but we should have retroflex N and D there. So we we want to, so we want to reuse this one then. We have the E sound, we have the Retroflex N sound, and then we have the D sound, and then we have a connecting stroke there, and then we add on the dental ta and the visarga. So something like that. Paṇḍitaḥ. And here we can compare this situation here with the form that we usually see in third person plural verbs. So we have, for instance, let's say we have let's say, what should we do? We should do da. Well, we can do it on a separate line there. We can do it here. Whoops, this is just crazy. Da vanti. So the idea here is the same, that that whenever we have a preceding letter, here in the case of a T, we have also an N, a dental N. So the idea here is the same, that we sort of first the E stroke and then the N stroke and then the D stroke, the D character. So you see the same here, so that this upper bow here is sort of arching over two other characters, not just one. Alright, so that's a simple one. And then the last thing we want to do is we want to introduce a conjunct consonant, a combined consonant, one more, and that is, I write this up here, we have ha here, as usual, something like that, ha, and we want to combine this with ma. Well, we actually want to, what we want to do is actually, let's see, we want to be able to represent the just a H. We want to remove the A sound at the end, and we could do that by using a virāma, like that, a termination mark like that, to get an H. But so there may be some places, some books that may use that, but they are not many, I think. So because what we ultimately want in our example here is the combination HMA, and so that would be possible then if we do the normal ha, but with a viram, and then simply stacking the ma sound after, like that. So that would be HMA. But that is really the poor man's HMA. The usual way of writing this is a combined. So we use the almost the same, but then we make that longer. We make it into an M there, sort of. I should do this more nicely here. I should do this more nice. Let's see, we can something like that. And then what I do normally is I go from the other way around, and then I go down. But this actually should go like that and then come straight, or that's how I do it, at least. So I'll do it one more time here. So I have the normal start, and then I go around, and there should be completely round there. Round. It's hard to do with this pen I have here. It's not entirely easy. It should go round all the way down here and then straight to the right, because we want to simulate. Maybe I can, if I do it a little bigger, I can maybe use 2 lines there. Should go, this should be round there, and then, or something like that. It's not fixing this to illustrate, just something like that, and then the vertical stroke as usual. So I hope you, but there are of course several variants of this also in terms of typography and in terms of design. So maybe there is some twirl here at this, but you can watch, you can go to your favorite Sanskrit textbook, and you can look up these conjunct consonants, and maybe they have some different style than my style, but the idea is simply that we're connecting the ha, the form, the graphic form of the ha, and then we are modifying it to add the sort of this part of the M there. So at least that's how I see it. Okay, so we're now ready for the word brāhmaṇaḥ, or naḥ. It has to be retroflex. And here's another variant. I forgot to mention this, but we have also, what we also need is we need a ba, and that we usually do like that. There's nothing strange with that. But then we want to add a R sound after the B, but before the A. So we're not talking about RBA, we're talking about BRA, like in brat. That's a good. And how we do this then is that we do our regular B end that stroke there, but then we add the R sound as a diagonal straight line to the left there, and that becomes a bra, something like that. So now we are ready for the bra, and then it had to be better, I think. Let's do it a little more carefully here. Bra, and make it long, bra, and then comes this H sound with an M, and then comes one of those Retroflex na, and then we have the Visarga. Brāhmaṇaḥ. Okay, so that's the script done, the script issues. Let's go on to sheet number 3, where we will be talking about asti and the dual forms of asti. So, dual forms of asti. So what we could do first is that we will do we can do first a little exercise here, then with the singular forms, like a repetition. So we have asmi, first person here, asmi. And then we have second person, which is asi. And then we have third person, which is asti. Whoops. Well, a little not entirely straight there, but asti. Alright, so that's the previous, that's what we learned in, I don't know, a couple of lessons before. What's it, 11, I think, or something? Could it be 11? Let's look. So if you want, yes, asti, lesson 11. So you can go back to that video if you want to see some more, hear some more about that. And now we do the dual here. And let's start with svaḥ, and that's the first person dual. So we two are. So maybe I can write this here too. We two are. Okay, and then we have sthaḥ, which is due to R. And then we have, as a third one, we have just normal dental sthaḥ. They two are like that. And it's maybe interesting now to just think about this here, this column here, that in the dual here there is it looks like there's a different root for the verb. So in the first column, for the singular, the verb always starts with an A, and in the second column for the dual here, we don't have an A. So we can use perhaps the if I remember correctly, I think MacDonald in his Sanskrit grammar book, he's talking about something like dropping the initial A sound. And that's if we can look at it that way, or we can think that's just another root. But the interesting thing is that maybe it is just a dropping. I don't know. But regardless, what we can do is we can see. We can compare this with the dual for another verb. Let's take the other word for being, or to be, is or existing, or whatever you want to call it. So we can take the dual, so bhavati, right? And in dual, then bhavati becomes bhavavaha, right? Let's see if I'm do it nicely. That's this. Bhavavaha. So, and then we have, let's do this line here. Bhavataha. We have a and then we have the last one, paṇḍitaḥ. Taha, like that. So then the idea is that if we try to look at these endings here, we see that vaha in the first person there is a sort of the common denominator, and similarly here in taha is the common denominator, and in the last case here taha is the common denominator. So if you look at it that way, then we actually only have an S in the beginning before the ending comes immediately there. So I think that may be useful. Okay, good. And what else? Yes, another point here while I'm at it is also this thing with first and second and third person here. Now, of course, there's little, since I've written 1, 2, 3 already there, then the first person is I, and the second one is you, and third is they, or they two, or you or you two, or I or we two, if we're just talking about single and dual. But in Sanskrit grammatical vocabulary, then the first person is down here, this one, and the second person is called the middle person actually, and then the third person is, or it should be here instead. Well, the second person is the middle, and then the third person is the last person, or it's an uttama purusha. So it's the last one, or it could also be the highest or the most elevated, or so, like that. But I think normally when it comes to Sanskrit grammar, uttama is regarded as the last. So number 1 is the first person here, the second one is the middle person, madhyama, I think it is, right? Madhyama, yeah. Madhyama purusha. And pratama purusha, madhyama purusha, and uttama purusha. But we don't have to, we're not really concerned about this, but the idea is simply that it's just the opposite scheme from the English scheme. So the third, so in the English terminology on the left here, the first person refers to asmi, or svaḥ. But in Sanskrit terminology, the first person refers to sthaḥ or asti. So it's upside down, we could say. So, but in this course, I'm always using the English kind of grammatical terminology, so we don't have to be too concerned with these numbers over here. Like that. All right. So we are now now doing some examples there. So now the time has come to combining the pronouns with the dual form of the verb asti. So let's start writing up the sentence 1. If we can get some ink there, it would be good. And there it comes. Okay. So we could write, for instance, avam svaḥ. Avam svaḥ. Short sentence there, just to illustrate what we would combine, which pronoun we should use. So we too goes together with we too are. Like that. Avam svaḥ. We too are. And number 2, then we do use the oops, I forgot the termination mark. Sorry about that. Staḥ. Staḥ. Let's long a staḥ. And that is you too are, and you too are. So you too are. And then we have number 3, and we do a tau staḥ. Tau staḥ. And they too am. They too are. Like that. That's this. And of course here we could have important thing here is that so if we write the sentence tau staḥ, they too are. They too tau staḥ are. But then we can, but that's just the masculine form. So it might, this may refer to the two, let's say we have in the previous sentence we had the word balau, and then the tau can refer to the two masculine boys. But if we had some girls over here, then we couldn't do that. Then we would have to write te, sthaḥ. They two f are. So that's just a remark here that. But since we are just dealing with masculine nouns this lesson, I'm not giving any further example about te in combination with sthaḥ. So that's just a quick pointer. And so now let's look at two more sheets of examples, so we can sort of gradually get used to having the pronouns and the verbs. Whoops, now I forgot my layer here. Okay, good. So we can do another one here, and maybe I should only I'll only do this in transliteration now, so we get a little quicker. Awam balau, awam balau svaḥ. So we two, awam, we two, two boys, or the two boys, whichever you prefer. And then we two are. So we are two boys. So we are two boys. Or maybe I should write this. Well, maybe I can write it. So in English, then, we are two boys. Or we are the two boys. The two boys who are the most hip in our the only two boys, perhaps. I don't know, but this is our usual. We have our English with Sanskrit word order, SOs here, and we have our English more usual way of writing it. We're cleaning it up without hyphens and with better English word order. Okay, so number two, then we do the yuvam pronoun, and we do the dual form of naraha, which is narau, and then we do the verb staḥ. Should finish the sentences there also, like that. So you two men, narau, staḥ, you two are. Okay, and then we do the English, you two are two men. or you two are men. But it's something like that. That's what this is all about. So we're talking about, so the subject is here and the predicate is, the noun predicate is here, bala, right? So we're starting off, so if I write it like this, x equals y. So the subject is x and the noun predicate is y, and svaḥ is equal sign there. So the subject is we and the predicate is two boys, the noun part of it. All right. So similarly here we have you wam, it's also the subject. So it's you two is the subject. Okay, number 3, we have tau, janakau, staḥ. So we have third person, and so they two, m, masculine, they two m, they janakau, so the two fathers, and they two are. Right, so also maybe more literal or more maybe more English one sounding. Those two are fathers. Or something like that. Alright, another point here is that just as with asti, we can use the third person form in staḥ here. We can also use it as having existential force, and we do that typically by placing it first in the sentence. So we use another example then here, staḥ, paṇḍitaḥ. Oh, no, well, it should be dual, right? Dual, that's the whole point. Maybe we can do this in Devanagari also here. Staḥ, just for extra exercise here with this pa, and then we do this Retroflex n, and then we do the Retroflex D, and then we do the stroke up there, back to the D, and we do the ta, and then ow. And then I will use my usual semicolon in the transliteration there instead. Sthaḥ, paṇḍitaḥ. And since I'm using existential force here, I'm translating this as there are two. So there are basically, but now I'm specifying the dual number here also, because in the singular for asti, the equivalent of asti, just quickly, asti paṇḍitaḥ. In that, I translated that as there is. A pandit. Like that. So in this case here, when we have the dual number, we are tempted to just say there are, but we have to save there are for plural. So here I will have to add two just to make it more explicit that the verb is dual. And then we specify the noun here also, two pandits. So it's interesting here with the existential idea here that we, if we take the equation here once more with x equals y, we can say that asti, or that the idea, whether this is asti or whether this is staḥ or whether it is the plural form, but the idea is the same, that over here the verb took on the sort of the what do you call this sign, the equal sign, but here it takes on also the word there is, or there are two, and then the y here is just whatever, it's the equivalent of the what do you call it, the noun predicate. So that's sort of how it works. Okay, I think that's good. I think we have covered those examples, and we can take the last sheet now when we're doing yet some other quick ones. Here we are doing one. Let's take the example here with when we are adding two pronouns, for instance, aham and tvam, where our aham tvam cha balo svaḥ. So I, you, and two boys we two are. And this is of course estvo here, so we have to flip the and insert it in the right position. I and you. We are two boys, or something like that. That's the idea. And what we're doing here is that if you have the combination of first person and second person, whether this is singular or whether this is dual or whatever it is, we can always use the first person for the verb. So it's we two are. So we wouldn't say I and you two are, or I and you, they two are. That's not. So since I'm including I here, we will always sort of default to first person also in the verb, so it becomes we. And similarly, or not really similar, but along the same thinking pattern is tvam, svaḥ, cha. And of course also we have one person and one person that becomes two persons, so we get the dual in the verb up here. So svaḥ is, so maybe we can, so we get dual here, and we have singular here, and we have singular there. So adding up one singular and one singular becomes dual, right? So that's the idea here. And the similar thing down here in terms of one tvam and one svaḥ. And what are they? They are brāhmaṇaḥ, staḥ. So you and he, right, we should have specified this as two Brahmins. You two are. So in a similar way, then, if one of the person is a you in singular and another is he, then the combined verb here is second person. So second person takes precedence, or however it's sort of takes over. So it's you two are. So you and he U2 are two Brahmins. Another thing here in the English, when we are translating this, whether this is in the Sanskrit also or not, I cannot say. Well, I mean, if we are assuming that the word order is this, that aham is, let's assume that someone writes this. The English may have to be, maybe we want to do like a literary or like a better word order here as a final sort of that. Normally in English, I think that if you mention you and I, you do it in that order. It's sort of like a politeness thing. But of course you could say the other way also, but so maybe that's sort of like an English refinement there, or what we could call it, number 2 there. And the same here, maybe we should do he and you or something. So the many, but this is like a literal translation of the Sanskrit now, so I'm going with this. Okay, number 3 here, the last example here. Brāhmaṇaḥ paṇḍitaḥ ca narau sthaḥ. So the Brahmin and the Pandit two men. They two are. Like that. Okay. So the Brahmin and the Pandit are two men. Alright, so that concludes this lesson. I'm hoping you have had a good time, and I also wish you a very pleasant day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.